September 8th, 2008. I'm finally coming into the world. Hi, I'm Ellen. I was born today in Knox County, IN. My parents, Mike Strauss and Miranda Strauss, were right next to me. I have 2 older sisters and 1 big brother. Their names are Flo, Sassy, and Ronnie. I was 2 years younger than Flo. There I was not yet able to talk, but was able to see my own surroundings. It wasn't pleasant, of course, but I was not in my mom's womb anymore. I began to open my eyes and a big flash of light went into my eyes. I didn't see well, and the only thing I could see was shapes and shading of the people and objects around me. I began to smell, and a smell of, well, alcohol. My parents drank and smoked. I didn't smell the smoke, but the alcohol hit really hard. I began to cry and my mom began to rock me. I stopped crying and ended up hearing a new voice. It was a nurse talking to my mom. I had a defect in my eyes. I was born with no irises and only pupils. My dad had the same eyes and he seemed fine. So, they didn't do anything. I was finally taken home and somewhere I felt there was something bad going to happen. Of course, as me being a babe, I brushed it off and stayed happy. I still didn't see well and so someone would help me navigate. February 5th, 2009. I was 5 months old and I had no idea how I survived this. I was at my step-grandma's house with my sister. I was about to get a sink bath when my sister cried for her. She left me on the counter with the sink running. She was gone for 2 minutes and the sink began to overflow. I fell off the counter and hit my head on the floor. I was rushed to the hospital and I was never at that house again. But to be honest, it'd probably be better than what I was living in. July 5th, 2010. For the first 2 years went somewhat well. There was a lot of red and blue lights and yelling, but I was somewhat safe in the arms of my older sister. It got really bad when I got hair. I had shoulder-length hair by the time I was 2 years old. My mom would have a babe hairbrush and began to brush my head. But for some reason, if she get to a knot, she will hit me in the face. I didn't know what to think except that it hurt. I began to cry and she continued to hit me with the brush and yell at me to stop crying. It was hard to stop because she continued to hit me. Eventually she stopped and I was left with a big bruise on my left cheek. I was told to go into my room. I did, of course, and sat on my bed. My sister held me and I felt better. I lay there and my mom came into the room. I lay really close to the wall and tried to be invisible. I don't exactly know what she did, but it didn't have to do with me. And if it did, she didn't find or see me. November 15th, 2012. I was 4 years old and I thought I was going to be a normal kid. But no, I was a kid of 2 thieves. My parents would always steal drugs, food, and money. It's like they never got caught or one dose and the other doesn't. They always give us to our grandma so they can go to their motorcycle gang. They usually stay for 14 hours. Sometimes when they come back it'll only be dad or it'll be only mom. Mom always is in jail and so I don't have much memory of her. It is very sad, but looking back it was a good thing. I would have a great time at Grandma's house. We'd play in the blueberry patch and ride on our 4-wheelers. Grandma had a big glass tin of cheese balls. I would be the first to eat them. I would always ask her for some when I came over. Our grandma had a friend over every day. His name was Freddie Bob. He would give us big, juicy, and very yummy pickles. I love them too, and every time we go to her house and ask for the cheese balls and pickles. We never wanted to leave and sadly when we did we got beat the moment we got home. We were always in our room and not allowed out till we learned our lesson. What lesson? The only lesson that needs to be learned is not to hurt little kids. For the parents, of course. We would also be happy to see our aunt and uncle. We have a cousin named Anastasia and she was my sister's age. That was fine because she was so nice to me. We played a lot and shared lots of toys. We never wanted to leave her house either. And of course we'd get beat afterward. November 9th, 2012. It was a rough time in my life. Maybe not the roughest, but it was rough. I was getting my hair done with my sister. Our parents found lice. So, they shaved our heads. They wanted to hang out with their motorcycle friends. So, they dropped us off at Grandma's. At first, she did not know who we were. She even asked, "Who are these boys you bring me?" I began to cry inside. She didn't recognize us. But she finally found out who we were after a few minutes. She felt bad for us to where we ate cheese balls and watched TV. I watched SpongeBob SquarePants or Dora. My sister wanted to learn to read, so she tried to read a book. She failed, of course, because Grandma didn't have books for an 8-year-old child. When we got home, we got sent to our room without dinner. We are used to not being fed. Ronnie and Sassy lived with our grandma and they got fed. Anyway, we haven't had much food in a lot of years and we look like twigs. But all of that was going to change. September 3rd, 2014. It was almost my 6th birthday, and I was not in the greatest shape. I was really sick, Mom was in the jail, and Dad was hurting us left and right. We wanted out so bad. Apparently DCS have had 13 calls about us in the past 3 years. Never picked us up though. In the past month I was supposed to be in school. Dad would put ABC Mouse on the computer, but it really didn't teach me much. During my free time I would go in the kitchen. We had an easy bake oven and I'd bake yummy brownies. Sadly, that memory was short-lived because Dad threw all of our stuff in the backyard. He would add firewood and burn it. He would also hold our heads and make us watch. It was so painful.